Welcome back to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It used to be a podcast where we watched the Muppet movie 2 minutes at a time and talked about it a lot, but guess what? We ran out of Muppet movie. So we're back with our second special episode, and this time we are watching the April 2nd, 1979 episode of The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson's not in this one because this week it's The Tonight Show, starring Kermit the Frog, your guest host. And speaking of hosts, I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And we also have a guest. Who is it?
It's me. Oh, you probably want me to say my name. It's Joe Hennis. I am the co-owner and editor-in-chief of toughpigs.com, along with Ryan Rowe, whose name you just heard a second ago.
That's right. We have Joe Hennis back again.
Back again.
Back again.
Yeah, you can't keep me away.
We are thrilled to have you, sir. This is your 6th appearance on the program. A record-smashing appearance.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, like, if you ever have Eric Adams back, I just want to crush him.
I hope he's listening.
I hope so. Like I said, we are talking about the April 2nd, 1979 episode of The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. Kermit is in for Johnny. To me, it's very fascinating that Kermit hosted on April 2nd, and the Muppet movie didn't come out until the 22nd of June.
I noticed that. It's a long...
it's like 2.5 months before the movie came out, but also it's explicitly designed to promote the movie. They show a clip. They talk a lot about their movie that they made. You know, Kermit has several jokes in his monologue about their big movie coming up, and then it did not come out for like 11 weeks.
Yeah, I wonder if it just had something to do with the scheduling. Like, this happened to be the night that Johnny Carson was taking a break, and this happened to be the night that the Muppets were available.
Well, I was thinking, like, I mean, they obviously were doing other things at this time. I'm checking to see, you know, if there was any new Muppet Show episodes around that time, and there actually wasn't. Because, you know, over on Tough Pigs, we're doing we're in the middle of a 5-year project where we're reviewing all of the Muppet Show episodes exactly 40 years or close to 40 years after they premiered. And there's a weird gap where there was a new episode on February 21st. And then the next new episode wasn't until May 9th. So they were kind of in the middle of that. Not that, I mean, obviously the Muppet Show was still airing. Like, they were still probably promoting the show. But it's not like, and then, hey, thanks for watching The Tonight Show. Make sure you tune in next week for, you know, Roger Miller.
Yeah, they talk about the show, but yeah, I don't think he ever actually says, like, be sure to check your local listings for The Muppet Show.
Right. But again, I think that at this point, with their movie coming out, they kind of assume that if you're watching The Tonight Show and there's a frog guest hosting it, either you've turned it off or you know what the deal is with that frog.
Yeah, well, and it's cool because like it really says a lot about how hugely popular the Muppets are. Not only that they would assume that everyone knows who they are, but also that Johnny Carson would give the whole show over to them.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of which, I don't know if you guys did this as well, but I tried to find a list of other people who guest hosted the Tonight Show. Because I was kind of curious, like, what exactly is the bar for the kind of people that he would ask to? It was
pretty common in those days. I don't think any of the late night hosts now ever really do guest hosts. They just do reruns. But
yeah, I actually looked that up too. And the last, at least I don't know about Leno, but Letterman had one guest host in. I forgot to look up the year, but he was like last minute he got a stomach bug or something like that, and Adam Sandler guest hosted for him, and then like that was like the early 2000s or something.
Well, Letterman had a series of guest hosts when he had his quadruple bypass surgery, but that was out of necessity.
Well,
oh sure, yeah.
You guys, Craig Ferguson used to have guest hosts all the time.
While he was actually the active host of that show?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
If he was gone, then just like Melissa McCarthy or someone would host the show.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I remember a string of guest hosts after Craig Ferguson left and before James Corden took over. But
yeah, they were testing people out for that. I remember Michael Ian Black was one of them, and I think he was rumored to be taking the job, but they didn't give it to him.
Oh, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. But some of the other Tonight Show guest hosts were people like there were some people who worked with the Muppets, like Rich Little and John Denver and Steve Martin and Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers did it many times, right? She
Yeah.
was kind of one of the, before Jay Leno, I think she was kind of the regular go-to guest host.
Yeah. Paul Williams, I think, was one of them.
Oh.
I know Bob Newhart used to do it sometimes. Did you find that in your research?
I did not. I expected someone out there on the internet just had like a list, and there wasn't. I had to like look up some articles where names were just mentioned.
In his memoir, he has a whole section about being a guest on the Tonight Show, and he mentions hosting as well.
That's Bob Newhart?
Bob Newhart, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like this is the kind of people who, like some of these names too were like Jerry Lewis, Don Rickles, Frank Sinatra. Like these are big names who it's like that's who I would think they were like, oh yeah, we can't get Sinatra this week, so let's get Kermit.
Yeah, so it really is quite an honor. I wanted to talk about each of the segments. I mean, this show is very long. The Tonight Show was 90 minutes long at that time. And I don't know about you guys, the copy I watched had all the commercials in it.
Yeah, same.
Sure did.
So, well, of course I watched them all because they're commercials from 1979. Yes, please.
Yeah. Also, by the way, just speaking of the commercials, I was really hoping that there would be some either Muppet references or just people who years later would work with the Muppets. And the only one that I spotted was I had an ad with Orson Welles.
Orson Welles for some kind of wine.
Yeah.
Right. And
pompous wine.
Not Muppet related, but we did get to hear Sterling Holloway do a Puppy Chow commercial.
Yes, that was delightful. Sterling Holloway, best known as the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Which my daughter recognized, by the way. My 4-year-old said, that sounds like Pooh. But yeah, so some of that stuff was kind of fun. But anyways, putting aside the commercials, there were basically 6 segments. Kermit's monologue. There's a desk bit that Kermit does with Ed McMahon, and then there are 4 guests. So I just kind of want to go through each one at a time, starting with Kermit's monologue. I don't think we need to talk about every joke, but Joe, I'll start with you. What bits of that monologue stood out for you?
Oh man! Well, first of all, that whole monologue is just one of the best things that the Muppets have ever done. It's just so natural, and it's just Kermit in front of a curtain, and he's just telling jokes, and it's just great. But like the best moment for me is when Fozzie pops his head out and he tells him faster and funnier.
Doing my best out here.
You're dying.
Great.
That's perfect, man. That is just perfect.
Well, and I also love Kermit. I love Fozzie saying that this is the big time and that he mostly plays hunting lodges. It's such a good Fozzie backstory bit.
Yeah, like what is Fozzie doing when they're not filming the Muppet Show? Like obviously he's
doing stand up in the Catskills, right?
That's right. but the backwoods of the Catskills, it sounds like.
Right. Ryan, how about you? What are some of your favorite bits there?
Well, so it's interesting, Joe, that you talk about how natural it is, because I feel like there's this quality to Kermit throughout this whole episode where it's kind of a nervous energy. And I wasn't sure if that was just kind of something that they decided to do for this, or if it's actually a little bit of Jim Henson being nervous hosting The Tonight Show. But I think it works in favor of the show, including the monologue where he's doing these jokes and he's not sure if they're going to work and he's really hoping they're going to work. Like he does the joke. He says, "Today we all went to Disneyland, Miss Piggy, Fozzie, and myself. The guard at the gate didn't want to let us out." Which is
by the way, is that foreshadowing?
Well, right. It's a funny joke because they're funny animals, but yeah, it feels different now than it did in 1979.
Like, is it foreshadowing to the Muppets at Walt Disney World special?
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 11 years earlier, they knew that was coming.
There was a guard at the gate who didn't want to let them out.
It's crazy to think it was only 11 years between those two things, by the way.
That is crazy.
I feel like there should be a couple of decades.
Right. Well, what's weird, that's something that I think we don't think about all that much is Jim Henson died 14 years after the Muppet Show premiered.
Yeah.
Not a lot of time with Jim and Richard playing these characters,
Yeah,
There's
you're right.
a little more Sesame Street, obviously. And with Kermit, there's 35 years. But yeah, I mean, 1976 to 1990 is the difference between 2005 and today.
Well, and that just goes to show like exactly how much content they made in those few years, especially when like, you know, there's gems like this special, or sorry, this episode, where like they obviously came in for a day's worth of filming, and they did this amazing piece of like Muppet content, and now it's seen as this like classic piece of work to people like us, but it was just one of hundreds of things they did in that year.
Right.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, no, crazy.
They were the most popular they've ever been, and probably the most active they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also love Kermit's run of when he says he's in late night, so he can say things that he's never said on television before.
Yes,
like,
great. That was delightful.
Titillate, curb feeler, bust line, stimulate, and cockatoo.
And succotash.
Oh, succotash, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to look up what a curb feeler is.
Yeah, I remember, Ryan, you and I, years ago, were watching this, and we were like, what is a curb feeler? And we remember looking it up at that point with you. Do you remember what it is? I do.
It's the part of a car that sticks out near the front wheel, so you know when you're close to the curb, so you don't park too far and damage your car. Park too far.
Huh.
It's filthy, Ryan. It's filthy.
Curb feeler.
Ugh.
Now I'm going to have to put an explicit tag on this episode.
Speaking of jokes that are a little kind of shocking, though, Fozzie says he started out as a trained SEAL act, and then SEALs were put on the endangered species list, so I had an animal change operation, and here I am.
Oh, yeah, that didn't date well.
That is a weird joke.
Well, no, it didn't date well, but also, like, how did that play? I wonder. It's just a very odd joke.
It is. Well, there's also like there's too many words in the joke. There's no real rhythm to it, which is also funny because he starts the joke. I think that was the joke where he started it, and he had a false start, and the audience started to respond, and then he talked over them, and then he kind of puts his hand in his head in his hand and goes, "Oh, you broke the rhythm."
Oh yeah,
which is funny. It's funny though because Fozzie is not good at telling jokes.
I mean,
it's funnier than the actual joke.
Probably. Yeah, it's not a very good joke, but even then, like, isn't it a rule of comedy that you're supposed to put the funny words at the very end of the joke if possible? So he says, when seals went on the endangered species list, I had an animal change operation, and here I am. It seems like those are all in the wrong order.
You're right. He shouldn't have said, here I am.
Right.
Unnecessary.
I think we should write Fozzie a letter to let him know.
Fozzie.
Faster and funnier.
Faster and funnier, yeah. So anyways, after the monologue.
Oh, wait, sorry. One more thing about the monologue real quick.
Okay.
At the very end, Kermit does the Johnny Carson golf swing.
Yeah, that's cute.
Which is great. Especially because I like, first of all, Fozzie prods him. He's like, oh, you got to do the golf swing. You got to do the golf swing. And he does the golf swing, and then Jim Henson's hand is very obviously on camera.
For a few seconds.
Yeah. And then they comment on it. They're like, what was that? What was that thing down there? As they cut to commercial.
And then Kermit and Ed McMahon talk about it in the next segment a little bit.
Right. Which brings us to the next segment. Kermit does some bits at the desk with Ed McMahon. And one of the big thing here is this bit about how Kermit's been reading a book of household hints, and he reads about 10 real household hints.
The book is called All Things Wise and Wonderful.
This is a real book, by the way.
Also the name of a James Herriot book, the British veterinarian. That's one of the books in his series that started with All Creatures Great and Small. So that struck me as very odd.
Yeah, but I actually did find this book on Amazon. You can buy a used copy right now for $1.99 if anyone wants to look for it.
Huh. Anyways, so Kermit reads.
I guess you don't want to look for it.
I was just going to say that. No, thanks. I'm good.
Kermit reads about 10 of these real household hints, which feels like padding.
For example, okay, so we have things like, well, to get chewing gum out of fabrics, you use ice first and then cleaning fluid.
Good idea.
Yeah.
You folks can take notes down if you want.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And then we got remove fuzz balls from sweaters with a dry sponge.
A dry sponge?
Yeah. I mean, if fuzz balls is your problem.
Yes.
And then, of course, it's a setup for a comedy bit where they do fake household hints. And I don't know how you guys felt about this. I thought they were not funny at all. And like it reminded me how much late night comedy bits like haven't changed. Like Jimmy Fallon could do that same bit basically, where he's just reading and then like the crowd is laughing it up.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Well, yeah, Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon did bits like this all the time, where I think even specifically like this, where Johnny Carson would read something out of a book, and then Ed McMahon would be like, everything you could ever want to know about, I don't know, dogs or whatever is in that book, and then Johnny Carson would tell him he's wrong. Here we have Kermit saying, you're wrong, dishwater breath, which is funny. But then the actual jokes are not funny.
Kermit is delighted to do that bit. I love that. He's like, I always wanted to say that.
Yeah. But these are only the Tonight Show regular writers are credited on this episode. There are no Muppet writers credited. So this is like, they might have just written this for Johnny and then just had Kermit do it.
It was just like one that they had. I think that seems likely.
If one leg on your table is too long, shrink it to size with preparation H. Woo! Okay. How about, listen, if you run out of white shoe polish, leave your shoes below a bird feeder.
But it is saved by Miss Piggy showing up just to tease that she's not ready and that the costume department is tacky and cheap.
Yes. I love that. Well, so she says, the way she says it too, she says it's a cheap, tacky outfit. And you don't really know if she's talking about the clothes that she has to wear or the organization of the Tonight Show.
Oh, right. Yeah. True. And then we segue into a clip, which is set up with Ed asking Kermit if he's the star, and Kermit doing like false modesty, saying that like Kermit says, "Well, I'm kind of through the whole thing." And Ed like through the shirt, like, "Yes, okay, I'm the star." And then they show the Steve Martin scene, which like if this was 1979 and I saw that, I would be so hyped to go see the Muppet movie.
Well, I tell you what threw me off about that was watching this scene that and I'm sure both of you have seen probably hundreds of times, and we're just intimately familiar with it. But watching it with a laugh track, because you could hear the audience laughing, it was odd.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it. It's just odd.
They definitely were very excited just to see Steve Martin turn around in that clip.
Well, he is a very funny turnaround.
Yes.
Right. Well, I was going to say, as are we all.
Right.
And the last thing I'll say about this desk bit is Ed keeps trying to sell Kermit to the audience. I feel like he keeps being like, "Yeah, it's a big show. You're great. You deserve it." I don't think he needs to be doing that.
I don't know. I like it. I like that. Like I said, Kermit has this nervous energy, but Ed is really supportive of Kermit. I think it's nice.
I appreciate that, but at the same time, something I've never quite understood is why is Ed McMahon there? I mean, I don't mean just in this episode. I mean, like in the history of the Tonight Show. I get that Johnny Carson needed someone to talk to, but like, who was Ed McMahon before the Tonight Show? Why does he have this job? Like, why?
He was a commercial pitch man. I mean, he was just like a on-camera salesman type.
Sure. Sure. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. He's fine. He's very good at his job, I guess. But, it's like, I guess maybe he felt like he needed to like up the energy a little bit since Johnny wasn't there. And he didn't have anything else to talk about other than how great Kermit is.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kermit is pretty great.
I do. I love him. I love that guy.
And also, wasn't Ed McMahon on Muppets Tonight years later? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, they do Star Search with Clifford and Coolio doing a Milli Vanilli joke, and Ed McMahon plays himself as the host of Star Search.
Hey, he came back.
Yeah. Also, Coolio was on Muppets Tonight. All right. There are a handful of Muppet performances throughout this thing. So I just wanted to discuss those very briefly. Muppet performances without any of the guests. We have Java, the classic pipes dancing segment. We have New York State of Mind by Floyd, Dr. Teeth, and Zoot. And then Being Green by Kermit. Did any of you guys have anything you want to say about those Muppet-only segments before we move on to the guests? Joe, I'll start with you.
I don't think I have anything to say about Java because Java is like identical every single time we see it, which actually is pretty impressive because I've seen it in a few different specials. Or I'm sorry, a few different TV appearances, and then I've also seen it live at Stuffed and Unstrung, and it's just obviously it's set to a very specific song, but it is kind of amazing how specific every movement of that is.
I was actually wondering, and maybe neither of you know, is this a new performance or did they just run an old film?
Well, I wondered the same thing, and I compared the two versions of New York State of Mind. This is definitely not the same take of New York State of Mind from the Muppet Show, so I'm inclined to think that was done new for this episode, but I didn't look with Java, but it so may or may not be.
My understanding with New York State of Mind is that it's the recording, but they just like lip sync to it.
It is not the same recording, and I only know that because I had taped the Muppet Show version and listened to the MP3 a lot, and it's very similar. It's extremely similar, but there's just a couple little things from Floyd that just sound different.
Okay, neat. That's great. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody knows and will let us know in the comments somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, prove me wrong. And then for Kermit's being green later in the episode, we've been talking a lot recently about how much Kermit has been singing Rainbow Connection lately. And it's like, I don't think he oversang Being Green by any means, but it is interesting that we've talked about how Jim only sang Rainbow Connection a few times through his career, but he did sing Being Green a couple dozen times. Like that was his go-to song.
I actually have in my notes that this, 2.5 months before the Muppet movie, this might be Being Green's last gasp as Kermit's the song that he sings all the time.
Sure.
Like Jim's not out there singing Being Green in the 80s either,
That's interesting.
Yeah, and he says in his little intro, he says, there's one little song that I've sung from Sesame Street to the Muppet Show, and then he says, it's sort of identified with me. So at that time, that was like the number one song that was identified with Kermit, and then it would soon get bumped down to number 2.
Right, and I think it definitely remains number 2 to this day.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder, was this the kind of thing where like Kermit's going to be on a TV show, and they were like, well, you got to sing Being Green. I mean, you got to do it. Like everyone's going to be expecting it.
Yeah, I think it was that kind of like, well, they expect us to, so we have to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. All right. So, moving on then to the guests. The first 3 of them were former Muppet Show guest stars.
Amazing.
And they all talk about being on the Muppet Show, which I think is a lot of fun. And okay, tell me if this is too much of a nerdy thing to even up. But the 3 Muppet Show guest stars that we see here in order are Vincent Price, Bernadette Peters, who was on season 2, and Leo Sayer, who was on season 3.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Was that intentional?
Dr. Michael Fox, who was on season 4.
Dr. Michael Fox. First of all, let's talk about Vincent Price. Go. What do you got about Vincent Price here?
It's so weird. Like you would think that he'd be so natural talking with Kermit and all that, but he's like, I feel like he's kind of like trying bits and they don't really work, but he keeps going. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the entire last, 20 plus years of his career is, hey, it's me. I'm Vincent Price. I'm such a ham.
Yeah, he is very much a ham.
I mean, not too long after he was on the Brady Bunch. It's not like he's a great horror movie star in 1979.
I mean, I will say this though, like he's definitely hamming it up, but at one point he tells Kermit that like how honored he is to be on this particular episode of the Tonight Show with Kermit the Frog, and like there's something so sincere about the way he says it that I totally believe him.
Oh yeah,
like I don't think he cares about hanging out with Johnny Carson anymore. It's like I get to be on the Kermit the Frog episode.
Yeah, I think that's right. And Uncle Deadly shows up. And, Uncle Deadly, who was in his episode in a couple sketches with him, says, Master, it's been such a long time since you've given me orders or whatever. Vincent Price seems so delighted to ask Uncle Deadly to go out and give him a nice, fresh cup of blood. Like, it's just like, oh, hey, it's that guy from my episode, remember? The Muppet Show.
Yeah, and then I like how, I don't know, there's just something, this may just be the fact that talk shows back then were much more spontaneous and organic and much less staged than they are now. But like it seems like, okay, so he asked him to get a cup of blood and then nobody really knows what to do. Like Kermit and Fozzie both just kind of go, and then Fozzie says, I think I'll go get a taxi. And there's a pause and Vincent Price says, a taxi? And then there's another pause and Kermit's like, okay, we're going to commercial.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's so awkward.
But I love that.
Speaking of awkward though, like it's so Frank Oz started this episode super strong with Fozzie's stuff in the monologue, and later in the episode, and we'll talk about this. Like I think his stuff with Piggy is just gold, but for some reason, Fozzie is stinking up the place in this bit. Where so he like kind of shows up, and it's supposed to be like, oh hey, Fozzie's here. He's gonna help Kermit out and whatever, and he just kind of like sits there, and he doesn't really say much. And like at one point, he just goes, oh yeah. And like it's like he's just responding, and then kind of looks to the audience like that's all I got. I'm sorry.
He also shows up when Vincent Price talks about making roast bear, right? Which is right after he talked. Like Kermit asks him about recipes, and then Vincent Price brings up pickled pig's feet. Like he says he won't talk about frog's legs, haha. And he brings up pickled pig's feet, and it seems like Vincent Piggy to come out and yell at him, and she doesn't. And then he brings up roast bear, and then Fozzie shows up. So I wonder if like Frank was doing something backstage, or the Piggy puppet actually wasn't ready, or something. Because it seems like Vincent Price is setting up for a bit where Piggy yells at him about pickled pig's feet. Am I wrong?
No, that's a very interesting theory. Because also, I don't think anyone eats roast bear, do they?
Right.
No, but that's the only segue you get when you're talking about food and you want Fozzie Bear to show up.
Right.
Right.
Although I do like that he says his favorite dish is roast bear, and then Fozzie's like, was my joke that bad?
Yeah, pretty good. And also Vincent Price is like obsessed with frog jokes in this. He says he has a frog in his throat. He talks about croaking as a euphemism for death. You know, he throws out the frog's legs thing.
Well, a lot of their conversation is about death and horror. Like Kermit asks him at one point the question, like, "You've done a lot of murders in your movies." He asks him something like, "What kind of murders have you done?"
Yeah,
and
which
he proceeds to give a list of the ways that he's committed murder in his films.
Yeah, Ben, you've done a lot of murders in some of your movies.
Yes, I have.
Because I remember, you cooked somebody once, didn't you?
Yes, I cooked Coral Brown, who I later married. After
Is that right?
After
you cooked her and then you married her.
Yeah. No, I gave her a marvelous, I gave her a permanent wave. I got, those old-fashioned permanents where they put the curlers in and they attached her to the electricity. Then I put her feet in water to give her a pedicure, and then I threw the switch. Oh, she really roasted.
Shocking, right? Yes. Well, what kind of other murders have you done? Because I know you've done other weird things.
Cut off people's heads. I've really done an awful lot of fancy murders.
That I loved. Like that was just like a good old 70s talk show interview segment.
Yeah,
like
totally.
I love old Vincent Price movies. So I was just eating that stuff up. When he's talking about Comedy of Terrors or whatever.
Yeah. And by the way, he's at the beginning of the segment. He mentions that he just he's just starting a TV series called Time Express, which I looked up because I'd never heard of it. It's the IMDb summary is that he and this other character are they're running a train called the Time Express, which takes its passengers back in time to relive a momentous moment of their lives. Which sounds like a cool concept, but it only lasted for 4 episodes.
Well, no, I mean it's a miniseries. He says it's a miniseries.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Okay.
Yeah. Because Kermit even says, "Is this your first series?" He says, "Well, it's a miniseries."
Oh, I didn't catch that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, is it one?
You should take the train back and revisit that description that you just said, Ryan.
Yes.
So make that horrible mistake.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Oh,
I apologize to Vincent Price.
All right, so and I'll say one more thing about Vincent Price. He mentioned his cookbook that he wrote with his wife. I have a copy of that book at my house. And it was given to me by our logo designer, Morgan Davey.
Oh,
Thanks again, Morgan.
Does that book have a recipe for roast bear in it?
I should have looked. I'll post on the Facebook.
And several of the recipes call for a cup of blood.
Actually, a lot of the recipes are about using your blender. He goes on and on about how versatile the blender is because it's the early 70s. And so maybe there's a recipe where you put your cup of blood in your blender. I don't know. I'll look. I'll let you know.
Sounds delicious.
But yeah.
And spooky.
And so the second guest is Bernadette Peters.
Wait. Before you get to Bernadette Peters, there's a couple of things.
Wait. No, then I didn't say it. All right. Anything else about Vincent Price before we move on? Joe.
Nope. No, sorry. Wait.
Anything else before Vincent Price, but after Vincent Price, but before Bernadette Peters, maybe?
Oh.
Yes. Wait, there was two things that happened between. One is that we get a shot of Statler and Waldorf sitting in the audience.
Okay, but who cares? That's just Statler and Waldorf.
I'm just pointing out the fact that I would like to point out the fact that Waldorf is asleep because they obviously shot it live and Jim Henson was busy Kermiting.
Yeah, I was wondering who was performing Waldorf there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Steve Whitmire.
That's a good guess.
I say that because Kermit mentions him by name at the end of this, and he's the only performer other than like the main Muppet Show 5. So I would guess he's doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I was going to say is Miss Piggy has her first real introduction. Right.
Yeah.
And Kermit reads her introduction, which did you guys write down what it actually says? I didn't write it down word for word.
I did not. It's very funny though.
But yeah, he has a funny how great she is type of introduction, which of course Miss Piggy wrote herself.
Hey, one thing I'd love to do now. Can I bring out one of our stars?
Of course.
Because I have an introduction over here too. Excuse me. I have an introduction over here that there it goes. Goes like this.
Yeah.
Okay, and here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the real star of the Muppet Show, a glamour queen of the first magnitude, a true superstar, and the person who wrote this introduction, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Piggy.
And then Miss Piggy comes out and announces that she and Kermit are engaged.
Oh yeah, very exciting.
Congratulations!
Yes, which is going to be a runner through the rest of the show, and Kermit just shuts it down from minute one, and Piggy ignores him.
Yeah, that's classic Kermit and Piggy.
Yeah, she just continues right on, even as he's denying it.
Well, and it's such a great runner too, because literally everyone who comes out on stage is like, "Hey, Kermit, congratulations!" and he has another chance to go like, "No, like that's not real. She made it up."
Yeah, that's great. That's so good. So our second guest then is Bernadette Peters, the star of stage and screen. She's explicitly promoting The Jerk, her movie with Steve Martin.
Wait, doesn't she say? Don't they say she's about to start filming The Jerk?
That's what Kermit said.
That might be right. Yeah,
which is weird. Like, they're promoting a movie that isn't going to be out for another 6-8 months. I don't know how long it took to make movies back then.
It came out in December of 1979, so it came out about 8 months later. Yeah,
that's crazy. Like, they're not promoting. I mean, they're promoting the Muppet movie that doesn't come out for a few more months. Talking about The Jerk that doesn't even come out for even longer.
Yeah.
What are you doing tonight, show?
Yeah. So she actually opens here with a song, which is "Wake Up and Live" by Harry Revel and Mac Gordon, a song that was a hit for Alice Faye in 1937.
Also for the Andrews Sisters.
For the Andrews Sisters later, yeah. But
I'm glad you found that, because I tried to look up the song and I thought she was singing "Wake Up and Leave," not "Wake Up and Live," which makes sense to me. Wake up and leave, get out of here. I'm done with you. And I didn't find anything.
Well, I can tell you that if you ask your Amazon Alexa to play the song, she will say, "Now playing Wake Up and Live."
Oh, that's good. That's good. What's fascinating? It's a good song. She sings it well. It's a great fit for her. She's great with those kind of show tunes. But what's crazy to me about this song is it's like halfway through the show, and there's a guest singing a song, which in like our lifetime, like since the 80s, I feel like if you're gonna have a guest do a song on a late night show, it's the very last thing.
Yeah, you're right.
And then the show's over.
Yeah, I think the conventional wisdom now is like when a musical guest comes on, that's when people start changing the channel.
Yeah. But back, I mean, the show was 90 minutes long, which obviously they're all 60 now. This
And
went 60 just a year later.
It was such a huge show. It was really almost the only thing that people were watching at that time slot.
Right. But anyway, so she does a song. It's great. Then she goes and sits down, and she and Kermit flirt like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Jim Henson is actually flustered by her. Like, Kermit flat out asks Bernadette Peters if she thinks he's sexy. And then she calls him a gentleman and charming and adorable and naked.
And naked. That's what she thinks about him. When she thinks of Kermit, she thinks, naked.
Yeah, so...
but she doesn't realize that he has 5 fingers. I like that little bit.
Oh, that was cute, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
She tried to kiss Kermit, and when she first sits down, and he says that she can't because lipstick doesn't exactly vacuum clean out, he said.
Right, which is good. But he also makes a joke about the Frog Prince, and he might turn into something.
Yeah, it's true. But first he's like, don't forget I'm made out of fabric, and if you get me stained, that's actually very bad.
Right.
You're paying for it, Bernadette.
Right. So he also, and this bothered me. She's about to tell a story about seeing Vincent Price at the supermarket.
I love that they see each other at the supermarket.
Yeah, and she and Vincent talk about this, and then she's about to say he gives me. I think that she's going to say like advice or something. Like there's going to be another story about Vincent Price at the store, and then Kermit cuts her off to ask her if she likes buying clothes.
Anyhow, what else about your shopping?
Oh well, I meet Vincent here in the supermarket, and he tells me.
You shop for clothes?
I do. I shop for clothes. You could use a few. I told you.
And,
right, she's talking about grocery shopping, and he changes it to shopping for clothes.
Yeah, and I actually yelled "boo" because I wanted to hear that story.
Yeah, me too. I was actually immediately picturing that she was going to say Vincent Price gives me rides in his shopping cart.
Well, no, but he already said that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
gives me maybe Vincent Price gives me the vapors.
Yeah, he talks about pushing her in the shopping cart.
That's why I thought of it then. Forget I said that.
He says shopping basket, but yeah. Which
Get on the time train, Ryan.
Okay.
Get on the time train.
Guess what? I'm the one who edits these.
That's the time train. That's what it is.
Yep.
The time train. There it is.
Well, it just goes to show that like Kermit, Jim Henson really is. He's not an interviewer. He's never had to interview people when it isn't a script where he's doing a talk spot or a Muppet Newsflash or a Sesame Street Newsflash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Miss Piggy would have done a better job as an interviewer than Kermit.
Yeah, I think that's well. And speaking of Frank Oz, Joe, you mentioned Frank kind of died as Fozzie in the Vincent Price segment. Animal comes out here.
Oh man!
He starts out just yelling.
It's all gold.
It's all gold. He starts out just yelling "woman," like he does, and then he eventually just starts exasperatedly repeating the last word of whatever Kermit just said. And like that shouldn't be that funny, but the way Frank does it is so good.
Listen, we're trying to conduct a serious interview here. Yeah, right. So if you just sort of sit quietly. Right. While we talk to Bernadette. Okay.
Well, his timing is just impeccable, and the fact that he just has he doesn't know what to do with the animal, so he's just gonna have animal pretend to sit behind Kermit in a fake chair, and then just pant.
Right. Well, I'm
I'm blown away as to how funny that is. It's just such a simple, stupid thing.
As soon as the gag of repeating everything kind of runs its course, he immediately goes to the panting thing, which is just funny all over again.
The panting thing, and then Bernadette Peters is telling Kermit that she had a Muppet thing, and she's talking about how she had a tablecloth with Kermit on it, and then an orangutan came to my birthday, and Animal just looks up and does this stunned take to the crowd.
Yeah.
And then they don't elaborate on the orangutan. We're just missing out on all the interesting stories. We don't know what happened at the grocery store. We don't know about this orangutan.
Yeah. It's so good.
I crack up every time I watch this when she says, "Oh, I had a birthday," and then Animal says, "Happy birthday."
I mentioned earlier that I watched this with my 4-year-old, and Animal's appearance in this segment was was one of the highlights for her. She giggled the whole time. She eventually started repeating whatever animal had just repeated. It was so much fun to watch.
That's great.
So Gonzo briefly shows up to flirt with Bernadette, which didn't really work for me because he specifically asks if Camilla is around and then hits on her, which feels
Gonzo is a terrible boyfriend.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But we've known that.
True, yes. But
even in the Muppet movie, the movie that they're there to promote, he is flirting with other women in front of his girlfriend Camilla.
You're right. Fair enough.
Also, he has a weird line where he's flirting with her and he says, "It's my first time on the show." It's there's a pause to be like it's a sex joke, but we're Muppets, we're pulling back.
I wondered if maybe he said that and then Dave Goelz realized, oh wait, that sounds like something else. I should clarify, but then that just made it worse.
Yeah. Also, so Bernadette says the last time she saw Gonzo, he had a safety pin in his nose and he was singing punk rock. And he kind of was like, oh, no, forget about that. He kind of brushed over it. And I have no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah, that did not happen on her episode of the show.
No.
Yeah. Did Gonzo ever do that?
It sounds like something he would do.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders is was it a rap party thing? Was it a was it like a private party that they had? And he's like, we can't tell people that we did that.
Yeah.
Moving on, let me flirt with you some more.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah. But she does do one other thing here. She has one other big moment that she also did in her episode on this, which is that she sings Just One Person to Robin.
Robin, who's sitting on a pillow to hide Jerry Nelson, and she lifts the pillow with him on it. It's a very interesting puppetry bit. But yeah, so they sing Just One Person, and then Scooter's there, and Gonzo, Fozzie, Kermit, Rolf, Floyd, and Beauregard. Yeah. Beauregard is one of the people who is in Just One Person.
Yeah, which is pretty exciting, especially because he was brand new, right? He shows up in the middle of season 3 originally.
I think that's right.
Yeah, people hadn't even seen Great Muppet Caper yet. That's his big scene.
Yeah, this is his debut season on the Muppet Show. He's not a main guy.
But he is just one person.
Yeah, Muppet Wiki says his first appearance is the Marisa Berenson episode, which aired in December of 1978.
Wow, so people were only like, oh, this guy who we just met 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And if people are interested, they can read the review of that episode that I wrote on toughpigs.com.
Hey.
All right. So, anything else about Bernadette?
Well, she's just so cute.
She's delightful.
Yeah. Then the next guest is Leo Sayer.
A real rock and roller.
According to Kermit calls him on the intro to the Muppet Show, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. He does 2 not rock songs here. 2 ballads.
These are 2 of his hits, though.
2 of his hits, yeah. Well, so I'll say this about Leo Sayer. My Uncle Mark, my dad's brother, when he was a child in the 1970s in North Dakota, was assigned to write a paper about a famous African American. And he chose to write about Leo Sayer, a person who
the whitest man in the world.
Yeah, but he had an afro, and
his name was Leo, which could that could be.
Yeah, I asked my uncle about this, and he said it was because he had an afro, and he had that falsetto voice, so he just was black as far as my uncle was concerned.
Wow.
So every time I see Leo Sayer, that is of course what comes to mind.
Naturally.
Yes.
It's funny. I mean, maybe we'll get to this in a minute, but they do talk here about how he apparently has these groupies, girls following him around, and I just look at him and I kind of go, really, that guy?
Him? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He and Scooter both seem equally attractive, is what you're saying.
Right. Well, yes, pretty much.
The joke is that Scooter doesn't have any girls following him around.
Right. Scooter has to make up a fake story about wearing a box on his head to hide from the girls.
Yeah, Scooter's pretty great in this, I think. He shows up to talk about Cockney rhyming slang.
Which, by the way, Cockney rhyming slang is the dumbest thing in the world. I just want to point that out. I don't get it. I don't think it's interesting.
Here's what I don't get about it. So, one of the examples they use, if Leo Sayer compliments Scooter's Irish, that means Irish jig, and that rhymes with wig, so that means he likes his wig.
We talk rhyming slang all the time, right?
Oh, that you better believe it.
Yeah.
The old cherry hog?
That's right.
That's a dog. Cherry hog, it's a dog.
Cherry hog is a dog.
Yeah, it's down for a bowl of chalk. That's a walk.
Wait a minute.
What?
I think somebody better explain rhyming slang.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Leo, tell us what rhyming slang is.
It's a Cockney thing, which Cockney is a sort of part of English language in London, actually. And they sort of rhyme words, like I will say to Scooter, I love the Irish.
Oh, Irish jig? That's my wig.
That's a wig.
Hey, wait. It's not.
But he'll say, then again, back to me, it's
no,
not
that's not
my
a wig.
Irish.
That's my barnet. Barnet fair.
Barnet fair,
That's
which is
my hair.
you see. And that's rhyming slang.
Like, is that always the same? Like, do people just memorize all these things? Like, if I say Irish, that means Irish jig, and you just know that all the time? Or do you have to is it like a puzzle, and you have to figure it out?
It's so dumb. It's like, I like your Irish. You like my Blyrish? Like, I don't know that word.
Yeah, like if I said to Joe, I like your chair, and then he would go like, oh, chair. That rhymes with pair of glasses. You like my glasses.
You guys know that we know many British people that we could ask about this, right?
Yeah, but that's too easy. I'd rather just complain about it.
Yep.
And speaking of British things, Scooter's they're talking about making the Muppet Show in England. Scooter specifically mentions that he hates the dish jellied eels and mash. Which the mash is of course just mashed potatoes, but the jellied eels are in fact jellied eels. And from the first time I saw this, I was fascinated by the existence of such a thing, and that it would be like a common thing that people would eat.
It sounds disgusting.
Sure, but fascinating.
Are you sure that it's not something that just rhymes with jellied eels?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what that would be. Jellied eels, right?
Banana peels.
Banana peels. You're just talking about bananas.
Yeah, they eat
with mashed potatoes.
Yeah,
Scooter makes this face when he talks about that. He's like yuck, which it's kind of like one of Kermit's yuck faces, but we don't see Scooter make that face very often. I like it.
Yeah, we don't see Richard like pull back on Scooter's upper jaw very often to like bend the whole top of his head. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to describe it for podcast listeners. But yeah, it's odd. Like I don't think of him being able to like move. It'd be like if you saw Rolf's face curve like that.
Yeah,
it's that doesn't work for me in my brain.
Maybe that's why he doesn't do it much, because it's not that flexible.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Anyways, it really has a great effect here when we do see it in this one. So like I mentioned, Leo Sayer does 2 songs. One is I Can't Stop Loving You, which is very boring. Terrible song. And the other one is When I Need You, which he does as a duet with Piggy. And so I'll ask you guys. But first I want to say my main takeaway from that song is that Leo Sayer doesn't know what moi means. Piggy addresses him as vous, and he's like, isn't it moi? Don't you mean moi? And then later on he like says to Piggy, when I need moi.
So, I don't. Maybe he thinks that the words "you" and "I" are interchangeable in French.
Well, I think
he thinks that Miss Piggy is calling herself moi, like that's her nickname.
Yeah, that's just who she is. Yeah. So, anyways, what did either of you guys have any thoughts about either of those songs?
Not really, but I mean, I guess I'm trying to decide which I prefer. Leo singing "When I Need You" to Miss Piggy as a love song. Or isn't that the song he sings when he's like on top of a tree being attacked by animals in the Muppet Show?
No.
Oh no, did I get it wrong?
I don't think so.
What is he? What's the circumstance he sings on the Muppet Show? Is it just the same thing?
Oh, you know what? You're right. It is the same song.
Yeah.
Sorry, really?
Yeah. Right.
I guess it's not very memorable.
Oh, I don't need the time train for that one. I got that one right.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's being chased by wild animals. He climbs a tree and he sings "When I Need You." Which is like it's a funny visual. I don't know if it makes sense with the song.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. He the other song he does on his Muppet Show is that the show must go on thing backstage.
Yeah, that's the best.
That one I like a lot, but he doesn't do that here.
He also sang "You Make Me Feel Like Dancing" on the Muppet Show.
Oh yeah, which is pretty good too. I like that too.
That's a good song. So
the
two best songs he sang on the Muppet Show, he decided not to do on the Tonight Show episode.
Yeah, right.
Well, my other thought about When I Need You here is that Leo Sayer is really into Miss Piggy.
Wouldn't you be?
Well, yeah.
So, and nothing else. All right.
That's all.
Yeah, I'm good.
Moving on to our final guest of the evening, Dr. Michael Fox.
Oh, I love Michael J. Fox. Those Back to the Future movies are so good.
He was great in Doc Hollywood.
So sadly, you guys, it is not a 17-year-old Michael J. Fox, an unknown young aspiring actor from Canada. It is veterinarian Dr. Michael Fox, who comes on as an excuse to talk about basically the real life mating rituals of pigs and frogs.
Hey, if you're qualified to discuss animals, what could you tell us about? I don't know, something like pick something. Pick frogs. How about frogs?
Okay.
Yes.
Well, frogs right now. I was in the Shenandoah Valley, right by the river, yesterday. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful rainy Sunday, and all the frogs were croaking. This is their mating time. And when it's mating time for frogs, the little boys, you have 5 fingers. The little frogs, the males, have a big, thick ridge that grows so that they can hold on to the female. And their hormones develop special muscles here. They develop huge muscles on the pectorals so that they can hold on to the lady. Now, when the lady has laid her eggs, she gives a croak, and that's the signal to get off. Now, sometimes...
I don't know about you guys. I thought Piggy and Kermit's reactions to this stuff was hilarious.
It's amazing. Yeah, like this is like a peak Piggy.
Yeah, like when he starts talking about, he's just about to talk about how pheromones drive pigs wild or whatever, and she's like into it. She like wants to smell those pheromones. She like can't wait.
I liked it. See, I wrote down a few of the funnier ones here. So, like, Piggy asks if he can officiate weddings, which is hysterical.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
He says a frog and a pig can get up to all sorts of things, and she goes, "I'm hoping so."
Yeah.
He says a pig and a frog could give rise to all kinds of strange things.
Yeah.
The audience loves her response to that.
Well, but also I like that before that he says they should get genetic counseling.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like such a funny idea to me. The idea that Kermit and Piggy are going to go to the genetic counselor to talk about what their babies might look like.
He also, Dr. Fox, is talking about frogs and their thumbs and how they're ridged to hold on while mating. And as he's saying that, both Kermit and Piggy look down at Kermit's hands. Like, really? Like, that's okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Like I never knew that about frogs.
Yeah,
but
and like he's like running through all those different plot, like those different facts. Like he's hardly giving Kermit and Piggy enough time to react, which is a little odd, I thought.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw this, I thought this might be a bit. Like I thought maybe he was an actor, but yeah, he doesn't really come across as an actor.
And he was on the Tonight Show like fairly often.
Yeah, I've since realized that he was a real veterinarian.
Yeah.
And then one more, he says, he's talking about pigs, and he says the ladies are called sows and the boys are called boars. And Piggy says, "You're telling me."
Yeah. That's great. So the other thing that happens here is he's going to hypnotize Camilla. Gonzo asks him to hypnotize Camilla. And then Gonzo gets hypnotized instead.
Why do you think Gonzo wanted Camilla hypnotized? Like, this seems like super skeevy, right?
I actually wrote that down also in my notes. Yeah.
Well, it starts because Dr. Fox is explaining that frogs can be hypnotized, and then Gonzo just kind of pops up and asks if chickens can be hypnotized too. But yeah, it is a little shady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and also it's just not that funny. Like, Gonzo kind of gets stunned to be like, Gonzo only shows up a few times in this. And he's not very good. Like, it feels like an off night for Dave Goelz or whatever.
It seems like Dr. Fox doesn't actually get what's going on. Like, he's doing his thing with Camilla, and then Gonzo freezes. But I don't think Fox really understands that what Gonzo is doing is acting like he's hypnotized.
Yeah, he's not really reacting to Gonzo.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if Dave Goelz didn't ad-lib that.
Maybe.
But also, like, don't forget, like usually when Michael Fox would show up on the Tonight Show, like he wouldn't be scripted. He wouldn't be following a bit. He's just showing something to Johnny, and Johnny's reacting.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm sure they were like, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to do this, and Gonzo's going to do that, and you're going to say this. But, like, that's not what he does. He's not an actor.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but by the way, I checked IMDb, which, could be inaccurate or not, says he was in 20 episodes of The Tonight Show, Carson.
So at least 20 episodes, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So pretty common guest.
They never asked him to guest host.
This is probably the only one where he converses with animals who can speak out loud. So.
You don't think he ever did something with a parrot, maybe?
Yeah, maybe a parrot.
Or I don't know, maybe Lamb Chop was on.
Yeah, Lamb Chop or Mr. Ed. Yep, probably. So then we close on the show with Kermit saying the goodnights. He mentions all the puppeteers by name, and New Zealand shows up.
Hey!
So happy to see New Zealand.
He says that he's giving his fish a week off, so he's training bananas instead, which is great. And Kermit tells him, "You're not in the show tonight, Lou." Poor Lou, man. That's the same thing that happens to him in the Muppet movie.
It's foreshadowing for all the people who are going to see the movie in a couple of months.
And yet, just like in the movie, where him showing up to have Kermit tell him he's not in the movie means that he is actually in the movie that we're watching. It's the same thing here, where he's actually in this episode just long enough for Kermit to tell him that he's not in this episode.
Right.
But he did it. He made it.
Yeah. So there we go. That's the entire April 2nd, 1979 Muppet Show. Good. That's the entire April 2nd, 1979 Tonight Show. Guest hosted by Kermit, and I'm so glad this thing exists.
I know this was just a flub, but like it really does feel like this could have been an episode of the Muppet Show. Not that it feels like a Muppet Show episode, but like it's a whole show with celebrities and songs and bits and like hilarious Muppet stuff, and it's just so good.
Yeah, it's great. So any final thoughts before we close, Ryan? I think Joe and I just gave ours.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like we said, it's a little weird, a little awkward. The Muppets are not completely in their element, but it's so entertaining, and I hope that it inspired a lot of people to go see the Muppet movie.
Yeah,
probably not. I think the movie's going to bomb.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, on that note, that's it for today. We will be back at some point with minutes 1 and 2 of The Great Muppet Caper.
Ooh!
So look for that in your podcast feeds. And in the meantime, remember to check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere else you can find us. You can follow me on Twitter at ZeppoMarxist. You can follow Ryan at MeRyanRowe. Joe, remind our listeners where they can find you online.
Well, they can find me at Joe Hennis, but they can also find most of what I post at Tough Pigs on all the other Tough Pigs related social media things that you've already mentioned.
That's right. And listeners, if you're so inclined, give us a positive review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast. This new bonus episode just reminded you that we exist, so now's the perfect time to do it. And also to tell all your friends about the show. And join us next time when we'll be back with some new episodes of Moving Right Along. Goodbye.
Bye.
Curb feeler.
Hello.
Hi, Iris.
Hi, Daddy.
So this is Anthony again, and I'm talking to my 4-year-old daughter, Iris. What did we just watch?
Java!
So what do you think about Java?
The baby blew the mama out, and then I was like, again.
So there's 2 characters, the baby and the mama. And what do they look like? What did you tell me they looked like?
Headphones.
So what do the 2 headphones do?
They dance.
For the listener, I will clarify that Iris is standing on a chair attempting to do the Java dance right now. Let me ask you another question.
Do you have Java dance?
Do I have a Java dance? Sure, I can do the Java dance. Can I ask you a question about the baby headphones?
Yes.
What does he have that the mama doesn't have?
Hair.
And what do you think about his hair?
It's really pointy like Jack Jack.
It's really pointy like Jack Jack's, yep.
And she can't blow him out like the baby.
She can't blow him out like the baby blows out the mama at the end. What do you think about that?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can ask me a question.
How about the Java Mama?
How about the Java Mama?
Yeah.
I think she's good. I think she's out there having fun. She's not very nice to the baby because she doesn't let him play.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Java?
Java.
Should we just say goodbye?
So Java has the accuracy of a Game Dog.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye-bye.